They hated me before I even began. That's how you know you're powerful. Before I said a single word, they were already shaking, already offended, already screaming. Why? Because they saw something they couldn't control, something they couldn't cancel. And let me tell you, I used every drop of that hate. I turned it into fuel, into fire, into results. They gave me free energy and I built an empire with it. People ask me all the time, how did you deal with all that hate? The media, the politicians, the celebrities, the experts, they all came at me daily, constantly. Headlines, attacks, lies, investigations, everything. But here's the secret, I never tried to stop it. I welcomed it. I thrived in it. Because haters are loud, but they're also predictable. They do the same thing over and over again. They lie, they exaggerate, they attack, and then they repeat. But me, I take it all in, process it like a machine, and spit out victory. I don't ignore the hate, I use it. I flip it. I weaponize it. I've been called everything: arrogant, dangerous, unfit, too loud, too rich, too bold, too much. You name it, they've said it. But what they never say, wrong, because deep down, even the loudest haters know I was right. I was ahead. I was building while they were tweeting. I was winning while they were whining. I was working while they were waiting for someone to save them. And I didn't just survive the hate, I outgrew it. I built so big they had to choke on it. Let me give you an example. When I ran for president, they said I was a joke. A punchline, this will never work. He's not serious, this will destroy him. But I knew what they didn't. The louder they screamed, the more powerful I became. Every attack made me more dangerous. Every insult made me more focused. Every lie pushed people closer to me, not away. Why? Because people could feel it. I wasn't playing. I wasn't performing. I was building again. This time, not just towers of movement. The media didn't make me, it made me. And when they tried to break me, they made me stronger. The fake news, that's just free publicity. The hit pieces, free marketing. The late night jokes, free branding. They were fueling the machine. Every headline they printed, more attention. Every insult they tweeted, more influence. They didn't realize it, but they were working for me. They were doing the one thing I do better than anyone: stay relevant. And listen, it wasn't just politics. It was always like that. Go back to the 80s. New York real estate. I was a young guy walking into a game dominated by old money, slow thinkers, and soft players. I came in loud, fast, sharp. I made deals they couldn't believe. And they hated it. They hated that I was winning in their city. They hated that I was rewriting the rules. So what did I do? I built Trump Tower right in the middle of Manhattan. Tall, gold, unstoppable. And every hater who walked by it had to look up. That's power. You see, the moment you try to be liked, you lose your edge. I never tried to be liked. I tried to win. And when you win big enough, even your haters can't ignore you. They still talk, but they talk about you. They still lie, but your name is still trending. That's control. That's leverage. That's how I played the game. And that's why I never stopped winning. People waste time trying to change opinions. Not me. I never cared what they thought. I cared what I was building. While they were watching, I was working. While they were laughing, I was launching. And when the dust settled, I was the only one standing on top. They hated the towers. They hated the brand. They hated the hats. They hated the rallies. But they never hated the results. You don't build $1 billion brand, win the presidency, and reshape the map unless you're doing something right. And deep down, they know it. That's what bothers them most. Not that I'm arrogant, not that I'm loud, not that I'm unfiltered, but that I'm undeniable. So if you're sitting there right now worried about what people think, let me give you a reality check. They're going to hate you anyway. Whether you play small or think big, whether you lose quietly or win loudly, the hate comes either way. So you might as well use it, stack it, channel it, turn every insult into fuel, every attack into armor, every doubt into drive. Because when you stop fearing your haters, you start building your empire. They hated me when I was young and bold. They hated me when I was older and louder. They hated me when I failed, and they hated me even more when I came back stronger. The hate never stopped, and neither did I. Because from the beginning, I understood one thing most people never figure out. Hate is not a wall. It's a ladder. You just have to know how to climb it. Let's start with Trump Tower. In the late 70s, when I announced I was going to build a skyscraper on Fifth Avenue, a massive, modern, all-glass tower with my name in gold, they thought I was crazy. I was young. I didn't have the deep-rooted connections like the old families in Manhattan real estate. They said I was arrogant. They said I was loud. They said I couldn't pull it off. One critic wrote that the building would ruin the skyline. Another said Trump is out of his depth. Newspapers mocked the design, mocked the idea of the waterfall in the lobby, mocked the gold, everything. But I didn't build it to be liked. I built it to be remembered. I didn't just want a building. I wanted a landmark, and that's exactly what it became. Now, that tower is a New York icon. And those same critics, they walk by it, and my name is staring them in the face 5 stories tall. You know what made that tower possible? Not support, not praise, not kindness, opposition. The resistance gave me clarity. It forced me to push harder, move smarter, think bigger. Every time they blocked me, I got sharper. Every time they doubted me, I got louder. The hate gave me focus, it gave me fire. Without them, Trump Tower wouldn't be what it is. It would have been smaller, safer, forgettable. But they pushed me, and I built something they couldn't ignore. And that was just the beginning. Fast forward to the 2000s, I launched The Apprentice. Once again, the haters lined up. This is going to flop. He's not a TV guy. This is ego-driven garbage. They said I was just trying to get attention. Well, guess what I did? And I got ratings too. Big ones. Week after week, millions of people tuned in to watch me lead, fire, build. I didn't just make a hit show. I built the Trump image. I turned business into entertainment, leadership into legacy. And all the while, the haters screamed. They said I was a joke. I turned that joke into one of the most iconic catchphrases in television history: you're fired. And the joke? It made me richer. They fueled the brand they were trying to bury. That's what happens when you understand power. You flip the narrative, you bend the spotlight. You don't hide from hate, you market it. Then came politics. Oh boy. If they hated me before, they absolutely lost their minds when I stepped into that arena. From the second I came down that escalator and said I was running for president, they exploded. He's not serious. He'll never win. He's doing it for publicity. That hate, it wasn't subtle. It was everywhere. Wall-to-wall negative coverage, celebrities trashing me, late-night hosts dedicating entire monologues to mocking me. The media didn't just disagree with me, they declared war. And guess what? I still won. Because the people saw through it. They felt the hate. And they started asking, why do they hate him this much? And the answer was clear: because I wasn't one of them. I didn't play their games. I wasn't owned. And that made me dangerous. That made me powerful. I turned every headline, every protest, every smear piece into momentum. I held rallies when they said no one would show. Stadiums filled. I spoke unfiltered while others hid behind poles. And the more they attacked me, the more support I gained. I used their hate to prove my strength. Here's something you need to understand and listen carefully. Hate is emotional proof that you're shaking the system. If you weren't a threat, they wouldn't care. But when you challenge their control, their comfort, their narrative, they panic. They attack. That's not a sign of failure. That's a sign of impact. And I've been making impact my entire life. Even in business, they hate it when I bought golf courses. He's not a golf guy. This will fail. He's destroying the game. Now, some of the most elite courses in the world carry the Trump name. People pay top dollar to walk my fairways, eat in my clubhouses, play under my flags. The same people who said it wouldn't work, they line up to get on the course. They hated the suits, the planes, the gold, the confidence. But they copied it. They mocked the style, then they imitated it. They laughed at the ambition, then tried to match it. That's how you know you're ahead. They hate you, and then they try to be you. And what do I do while they're hating? I work, I move, I build. Because I don't measure my success by applause, I measure it by dominance. I don't need everyone to love me. I need them to respect what I built. And believe me, they do. So what's the lesson here? Don't run from your haters, don't whine. Don't defend yourself, don't explain. Use it. Use every insult like bricks. Use every tweet like a weight. Use every laugh like a hammer. And build. Build like your life depends on it. Because if you use hate right, it becomes fuel. It becomes clarity. It becomes the reason you move and the reason they can't keep up. I turned their hate into hotels, into towers, into television, into politics, into legacy. They hated me. I thanked them with success. Let me tell you something most people don't understand. Haters don't stop winners. They sharpen them, they train them, they polish the diamond. If you're out here crying about criticism, you're not ready, period. Because if your confidence can't handle some noise, then it was never real confidence. It was borrowed, temporary, fake. I've been getting hate since I was 20, since I made my first deal, since I put my name on something and dared to say, I built that. And you know what? I never flinched. Because I understood early, if they don't hate you, you're playing too small. I don't fear hate, I expect it. In fact, I use it as a measuring stick. The louder they scream, the bigger I know the impact is. And the trick, I never take it personally. I take it strategically, I analyze it. I figure out what they're afraid of. What part of me is making them uncomfortable? And that's exactly where I double down. Because when something shakes people that much, it means you're touching power. I don't back off, I dig in. You need to get to a place in your mind where you see haters and smile. Because they're confirmation. Confirmation that you're doing something bold, something real, something that matters. The world never hated average, they ignored it. They only hate what they can't stop. That's how I stayed unshaken. That's how I outlasted every critic, every smear campaign, every insult. Because I never gave them the version of me they wanted. They wanted me soft, I stayed sharp. They wanted me quiet. I got louder. They wanted me humble, I gave them results. You want to know how to keep winning when the world hates you? Simple. You stop caring about applause and start focusing on outcomes. I never needed claps. I needed contracts. I never needed fans. I needed foundations. I didn't build Trump Tower with likes. I built it with laser focus, relentless execution, and a mind that didn't blink under pressure. And this is where most people fail. The moment they get pushed back, they crumble. The moment someone calls them out, they shrink. I never shrank. I expanded. You think I enjoyed being attacked? Being called names on every network, every article, every corner of the internet? No, but I understood the assignment. I wasn't here to be popular, I was here to dominate. And domination requires discomfort. It requires mental armor. It requires building a mindset so tough, so secure, that nothing gets in unless you let it. That's why I always say you don't need therapy. You need clarity. You don't need validation. You need results. If you wake up every day trying to be liked, you're building your empire on sand. But if you wake up every day committed to the mission, nothing can break you. That's what I had. I was addicted to the mission. Not the compliments, not the interviews, not the applause, the mission, the building, the winning. And let me tell you what really makes the haters insane when you win and don't flinch. When you smile through the chaos, when you keep moving forward like you're untouchable. That drives them nuts. And guess what? I loved it. I leaned into it. Because every second they were trying to stop me, I was already 3 steps ahead. That's the Trump mindset. It's not reactive. It's not emotional. It's calculated. It's forward-facing. It's a machine that doesn't run on approval, it runs on outcome. When I was billions in debt, I still walked like a billionaire. Why? Because that mindset kept me in the game. If I walked like I was finished, they would have treated me like I was. But I didn't. I held the frame. I kept the image, I kept the energy. And guess what? The world adjusted. The banks started listening. The people kept watching. And I kept building. because I never let external hate dictate internal power. That's what you need to learn. Stop letting small minds rent space in your head. Stop letting online comments affect your real-world execution. Stop letting people who've never built anything tell you how to think. If they've never risked, never failed, never climbed, never bled, then their opinion is cheap. You can't let cheap words ruin expensive goals. That's weakness. That's why most people lose. They let outside noise ruin their inner fire. Not me. I protected my fire, I stoked it, I fed it with winds. And I used every hater as gasoline. That's the mindset. And let me tell you what happens when you master it. When your confidence is real, when your frame is strong, when your identity is locked in, you become magnetic. Even the people who hate you, they can't look away. Even the ones who doubt you, they start copying you. Even the ones who insult you secretly admire you. That's real power, not just to lead, but to bend the room. That's what I did. That's what I still do. And it all starts here in the mind. You don't get strong by chance. You train it. You test it. You throw it into battle and keep walking. You build your beliefs so strong, no hater can puncture it. You speak with certainty so loud, no doubt can shake it. You work like your future depends on it because it does. So stop fearing judgment. Stop apologizing for confidence. Stop asking losers how to win. Build your empire. Build your focus. Build your frame. And remember, haters don't stop builders, they fuel them. Let me break something down for you. Most people think success is about working hard. Just working hard. That's only half the truth. The real winners, they're not just working, they're playing the board strategically, like a grandmaster in chess. I wasn't just grinding, I was moving pieces, making calls, controlling the flow. I wasn't in the game, I was designing the game. And when the haters came, I didn't cry, I converted. I took the pressure and flipped it into positioning. I made their noise work for me. That's the art. That's the genius. That's how you use hate to rise. You want examples? Fine, let's talk about the media. They hate me, always have, but they also need me. That's the difference. I'm not just a headline, I am the headline. They built entire news cycles around my name. And I let them. You know why? Because while they were mocking me, I was multiplying. Every time they ran a hit piece, my supporters got louder. Every time they lied, I got more exposure. And I knew how to use that exposure. I took their cameras and gave the world a show they couldn't ignore. They thought they were hurting me, but they were marketing me for free, 24/7. While other politicians were paying millions for airtime, I was getting it for nothing. Why? Because I was bold. Because I was real. Because I said what no one else had the guts to say. That wasn't chaos, that was strategy. Same thing with business. You think the name Trump just got famous by luck? No chance. I built it, I branded it. I multiplied it. And when they laughed, I expanded. They mocked Trump steaks, Trump water, Trump University. But guess what? They were still talking, still reacting. And while they were pointing fingers, I was testing the strength of my brand across every industry. Some things didn't stick. Who cares? That's not failure, that's scaling. That's pressure testing. That's how you build something that lasts. Something that reaches into every home, every city, every conversation. And when I launched The Apprentice, that wasn't just a TV show, that was global positioning. People thought it was entertainment. I knew it was empire building. Every episode I was reinforcing the Trump image, control, command, decisiveness. I wasn't just firing people, I was training the world to see me as the boss, the builder, the closer. And it worked. Brand value exploded, deals came in, licensing expanded. That's how you use media to multiply power, not to entertain, to dominate. You want to know how I really won? I never let the hate slow me. I turned it into moves, strategic, surgical, unstoppable moves. When people hated my confidence, I turned up the volume. When they attacked my business, I expanded into more. When they tried to silence me, I held a rally. When they tried to cancel me, I became uncancelable. That's leverage. That's flipping the script. That's how you turn pressure into progress. Look at what I did with the Trump brand globally. Most developers build a building and hope it sells. I built a name that sells buildings before they even exist. That's brand power. I license my name and let the world build around it. Low risk, high reward. While they're dealing with contractors and permits, I'm collecting checks. That's scale, that's intelligence. That's what happens when you build a brand so strong, haters can't touch it, they can only talk about it. And the more they talk, the more powerful it becomes. And don't forget social media, the digital battlefield. They tried to shadow ban me, mute me, delete me. But my reach, still unmatched, because I knew how to talk. I knew how to trigger attention. I wasn't afraid to speak raw, real. That's why I broke the algorithm. I didn't need permission, I didn't need filters. I used platforms like weapons, tools for attention, amplifiers for the message. Every post a strike, every tweet a move. While they played games, I played for keeps. And even when they took me offline, I still dominated conversation. That's how you know you've built something bigger than the platform. You become the platform. The real power move, I never chased acceptance. I built momentum. I didn't ask to be liked. I positioned to be needed. That's the key. When you're needed, they can't cancel you. They can't erase you. They have to deal with you. And I made sure of that. In business, politics, media, I didn't follow trends. I became the trend. I didn't wait for the rules. I wrote new ones, and they had no choice but to play by them. Every hater gave me a signal that I was hitting a nerve, that I was in control, that I was making noise where it mattered. And I didn't waste that signal. I converted it into energy, strategy, leverage. I let them scream. While they screamed, I scaled. While they mocked, I monetized. While they hated, I held the line. And that's why I'm still here, still building, still winning. So the next time you get hated on, don't react emotionally. Just react intelligently. Look at it, learn from it. Use it. That's how you build something they can't stop. Something they can't steal. Something they can't silence. You don't need them to love you. You need them to notice you. And once they do, you drive the narrative. That's power. That's strategy. That's how I turned hate into history.